Yeah, I tell guys, man, just focus on getting your bread right, becoming stable, continually improving on yourself, right? Make use of your time, right? If you're work, you need to be working full time, and you need to be developing skills that are going to help you to make more money in less time. Certifications that have to do with whatever thing it is that you're building skill and proficiency in. And women, women like competence. They like men who are competent, consistent, and successful. And I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. Nobody tells you this. Everybody makes it seem you living your life in your 20s, and you really just can't see far enough down the road. When these women hit 30, that's when they lean hard into delusion or reality hits them. One of the two. They lean hard into delusion, and that's when you sit up and you see these women arguing with us about basic biology and reality, right? Or they have a reality check. And here's what happens with the reality check. A whole bunch of women that weren't looking at you before are lining up because they want a husband. And if you have become a man who is consistent and been productive, then you'll get to pick the best ones. You'll get to pick the best ones. Once them girls start hitting 27, once you in your early 30s, you watch how this shit flips. It's mind blowing. Nobody told me. Nobody told me. Then I got divorced. I got divorced at about 36. I was about 35, 36. I came back out onto the dating market. I become a multiple six-figure earner during my marriage. And I went back out into the dating market, and the shit was a cakewalk. TV anchors, models, more models, young models, right? Just it was insane, absolutely insane. My current girlfriend speaks five languages, and has a master's degree from the University of Michigan. Like I'm telling you, bro, like just focus on yourself, work on yourself, and you'll get to pick in the end. We win in the end, fellas. Just don't let them push you off your square. And then not only that, here's the thing. Make sure that you let these women suffer their consequences too. Don't come in saving them. Don't come in saving them. If they had a baby with Delonte, let her and Delonte work that out.
Facts.
Don't come in and be stepdaddy to little Aiden. Because let me tell you what happens when you stepdaddy to little Aiden. You're dealing with Delonte and his bullshit and his lifestyle. And I'm telling you, when you're dealing with these women where somebody done already hit that bottom that I showed you on that video, when somebody else done already hit the bottom, then has access to her. Don't think for a second I can't call up any one of my exes. If I call my ex-wife right now, she wouldn't even pack her shit. She'd drop a match in the middle of the floor and walk out the front. So if you think you can compete with somebody that when she was 18 or 19 years old and full of dreams, and he eviscerated the lower pieces of her spine with that good long daddy, if you think you can compete with the fantasy she's built up in her head about that bullshit, she'll be sending that nigga your money in prison. So you leave them women alone. Leave them alone. Deal with a woman that's got some values, that was raised to be traditional. If she ain't got a daddy, then most of the time, unless she's done a lot of therapy, she can't be dealt with. The father wound is real, and it's the ultimate red flag. If you got a woman and she was raised without a daddy and she hasn't done a ton of therapy, you got to ask these women questions, bro. You got to ask a woman and see if she's somebody who believes that you can be a single mother and that's fine. If she say yes, that means that she don't need you. She don't think she needs you. You don't ask her how many bodies she got. Ask her if body count matters. If she say, nah, that don't really matter, people be sweetheart, you right. Go ahead, bend over. I'll see you later. Don't sit up and chase these women around. When they got these mindsets that are absolutely broken, if you're a guy who wants a family, you can't deal with hoes. You can't deal with 304s. You can't deal with these with
Oh, you're breaking up, Marty.
people. A woman that's willing to have sex because it's a vacation, because it's a vibe. Yeah. A woman who's willing to have sex because she's on vacation, because it's a vibe, because he's 6'3", because he got green eyes. Let me tell you something. You don't want no wife that's giving her body away for some shit like that, bro. That means that when you marry, when she sees somebody who's 6'5", she'll think to herself, "Ooh, there was a time I would have, ooh, ooh." She got somebody that she work around. She's seeing him every day, right? He got green eyes and he this, that, and the other. She normally will get some ass up over that. It don't take a commitment, not for her. She done fucked 10, 15 dudes off of a vibe. So she vibing with some niggas at work. While you at work. She vibing with some nigga at the grocery store while you at work. She vibing with the plumber. You don't need that type of bullshit in your life, bro. And these women statistically divorce at rates that are astronomical, bro. 90% rates. Women with the likelihood of a woman that has a master's degree divorcing you is at 90 fucking percent. What in the hell? What the hell? You know why? It's not because of the education. It's because you spent all them years in college getting your back blown out. Because that's what you're doing. Because women in our culture, unfortunately, other women go to college to get an education and find their husband, and our women go to college so that they don't need a husband. So they do whatever in the fuck they want, and then when it's time for them to settle down and somebody's supposed to give them a commitment and take them serious, they talking about their trauma. And they talking about your emotional intelligence when the last man they dealing with can't fucking spell intelligence.
Wow! Ladies and gentlemen, that is my brother. That is my business partner, Marty. We have a dose of karma up here. I'm going to play this audio one more time, and we're going to give the floor to a dose of karma. She has about 3-4 pages of notes. No one's going to interrupt her while she's speaking, and we're going to let her have at whatever she wants to say to Marty, myself, whatever she wants to say pertaining to the video. So, Karma, let me play this one more time, and then the floor is going to be yours.
So earlier this year, I ended a relationship and cut off an engagement from a great man. He was a good man. He loved God. He was a praying man. He loved and adored me. He was there for me. He was handsome. He was well educated. He didn't have any kids. He checked all the boxes. But there was still something missing. And I just knew that I could not go through with this marriage. There was just something that did not connect. I felt that there should have been a connection between he and I in order for me to be his wife. And so I cut off the engagement. And it was so difficult because he was a good man. It's easy when a person is not good. You can justify why you cut things off. But when a person is truly a good person, it's hard to explain. So I found myself trying to explain it to family and friends, and they were asking me a whole bunch of questions that, I could not say, exactly why, other than the fact that I just did not feel the connection. There was something that was not there that I needed to be there in order for this to be my husband. And so I stopped trying to explain it, and I just trusted my decision, and I went on. But then I got an epiphany, and it was just like, have you ever been shoe shopping? And you saw a nice pair of shoes, and it's like, ooh, I love the color. I love the style. The heel is the right size, and it's a reasonable price. Like, it's on sale, and it's a good shoe. But then when you approach the shoe, you see that it's a size 6, and you need a size 7. Does it take away from the fact that the shoe is a good shoe? Does it take away from the fact that you're getting a great deal for the quality? Does it take away from the fact that the heel is still the right size? It does. So earlier this year, I ended a relationship for me. Your size is not the shoe for you. And so that is what I had to accept. Yes, he was a good man. But what that feeling was is that he was not a great fit for me. It didn't take away from who he was, but it was just confirmation that he was not a good fit for me. And that leads me to say that some of us are trying to force relationships when we know they don't fit. It doesn't mean that the person is not good. It doesn't mean that they are not good-hearted people. It just means that they're not a good fit for you. So free them up. Don't continue to settle for things that you know is going to cause discomfort in the future. Me purchasing a size 6 shoe when I wear a 7 is discomfort. Don't do it.
A dose of karma. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting patiently, ma'am. The floor is yours. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go through all your notes. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the video, the response to the video, and then I will go into his points that he made after, to his response to the video. And that's a lot of ground to cover. So, okay. Now, I feel like when women are proposed to, it makes them think a little bit differently. It's like, can I be with this person long term and not regret it and not get bored? Can I be with this person long term without cheating? Do they fit me so well that I could be with this one person for the rest of my life? The rest of your life is a long time, especially when you're in your 20s and you've been an adult for barely a decade. Forever is a very, very long time the younger you are. So then the heavier the weight of this lifelong decision, if you are thinking about forever anyway. And I feel like a lot of people, they come into your life to teach you lessons, not everyone is there forever. Even no matter how nice of a person they may be, their time in your life just may be up and your time in theirs could just, that could be the end of the road. Great. Thank you for the lessons. For the record, as I was showing earlier, both of my parents are together. That's them. And, wedding picture. Okay. So my parents are both professionals. My dad was a general in the Air Force, and my mom is a respiratory therapist. So I feel like, so there's that. I feel like there's a different kind of connection. Like there's a different thing that I expect to feel when someone's my boyfriend or whatever. And you expect that feeling to grow once you hit fiance. And if that feeling is not growing once you hit fiance, then there's no reason to get married. And it's a good thing that you figured that out before the marriage happened. Because a lot of people make smart marriages that have no passion because it was a smart marriage and they check all the boxes. But there's a lot of people out there that can check all the boxes. Checking all the boxes is pretty basic.
Oh, sorry. I was just unplugging my microphone. Go ahead. I wasn't saying anything.
Okay, cool. Like, I like going on roller coasters. And if you're just going to sit there and watch me have fun with everything we do, I'm going to get kind of bored. Like, I like to go out and do physical activities, like go roller skating, ice skating. I like doing stuff. It's usually not out to eat. I really prefer to pack snacks and leave it in the cooler in my car. But yeah, there's there's someone in my life who did check all the boxes and they were just really boring. And I stayed for a long time because it was a smart match. And there's no logical reason for me, because we're always thinking about, okay, well, we're really emotional. So let's think logically. Let's stick this out and give it an honest shot and use the logic part of our brain, But then it's not realistic that it's going to last if there's no passion behind it. And then, okay. So that's how I feel about that.
Okay.
Now, sorry, I consolidated all those pages into this, and I have everything
That's
shorthand.
fine. That's fine. I just want to before you start addressing his points, if you can address some things without getting a direct answer from him right away, that might be best. Marty can be a little long-winded, and based off of like if you ask him a question and he starts responding and y'all start getting into a back and forth, y'all might not be able to, it might be some time before you get to the next question or so. So if you
Oh
could
no,
just,
I'll just write it down. I'll just keep writing it down. It's okay.
yeah, okay, okay,
Yeah, I'm good at taking notes.
okay, go ahead.
Okay. So where was I? Yeah. Oh, so someone said maybe I'm boring. And I'm like, I don't know. Someone watching me do things while I'm out there having fun, flipping and possibly hurting myself, and he's just sitting there at the tables watching. It feels weird. And then I like, make friends while I'm there. And then he doesn't like the friends that I make, and I'm like, well, be my friend out there. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people are not friends with the people that they're with. And I feel like,
A guy.
huh? I can't hear you.
Marty, you breaking up. Come back. You breaking up. Go ahead. What was the first thing you wanted to address him on what he said?
Okay. So let's pick one. Okay. Sit down. So let's start with, I think the first thing that he brought up was, well, I don't have it in numerical order anymore since I transferred the notes. Sorry, I have one of these.
Well, real quick, Laura.
Okay,
Real
so
quick.
let's
You
pick
said
up.
a guy checked.
Go ahead.
You said a guy checked all the boxes,
Yeah.
but he doesn't ride roller coasters, and so that's no good. But
Oh
you
no,
said
that's
it's
not that.
easy for a man to. But you said it's easy for a man to check all the boxes. But one of the boxes can be something as stupid as whether or not he rides roller coasters. And this is, you ladies don't really see yourselves, and
It
it
wasn't
seems
just the roller coaster.
oftentimes like you don't hear yourselves either. You don't hear yourselves talking.
Can I
You
clarify
just
before you
legitimately,
continue?
yeah.
Okay, and
You don't think that's
Okay.
really ridiculous?
and
Okay. It was.
one second. When you start addressing him on the points that you heard him make,
Yeah.
T is here and she's also heard the audio. And I know she has her own opinion on the audio, but T, after Marty responds to whatever points that she wants to address him on what he said, I would like you to give your take on it as well, because I want you to be able to participate as well. So go ahead and clarify whatever you want to clarify, and then start
Okay.
addressing his points. That's what we're here for.
Okay. So just to clarify, it wasn't just the roller coasters. It was everything all together. Like I would go out and do things, and he would just like watch, just like stand and watch. And then if I interact with other people while I'm doing it, it's an issue. But he could just come out here and be the person I interact with, so I'm not just there alone being watched.
Okay.
If that makes any
Okay.
sense, you know what I mean?
Go ahead and start addressing his points that you want to address him on.
Okay. So you said that a lot of women seem to prefer being a single mother, like leaving and divorcing the men. Um, I feel like that's women across the board. Like we've seen our grandmothers and our aunts and like our mothers work full-time jobs and be full-time parents while one parent just works only. And a lot of people don't feel like, a lot of women are like, okay, I have enough children with this man. This man does not need to be an extra child. And they feel like a sense of peace now that they have a lessened load of work to do inside the home of domestic work. I feel like that's the main reason that I hear going
Well,
on
that's selfish.
about that.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
selfish, then.
come
Yeah,
again?
that's super selfish. That's monstrously selfish. If you have a child, the child didn't ask to be here. And it's not about what you want, it's about what the child needs. So if
Yeah,
it's
but
easier for you
nobody
to be a
signs up
single
to
mom,
be.
Hold on, Karma,
if it's easier for
Mhm.
you to be a single mom, but it's harder, but it's harder on the child. And when you're faced with the choice, like, hey, it's harder on the kid, but it's easier for me, and you say, you know what, go me, then I submit you're a shitty parent and you're selfish. Not you, but a woman who would think like that. And that's why I tell guys, just don't deal with these women. They are hedonists. They put their own satisfaction at the top of their value hierarchy. And whenever they're even talking, you can hear it over and over and over again. they'll say, hey, it's about me. What makes me happy? Is this what I want? He can be perfect, but if he doesn't want to ride roller coasters, then fuck him. Who cares what type of father he would have been, provider he would have been, partner he would have been, lover he would have been, all of that. That doesn't matter to me. He's not doing this other thing that's random as fuck, that's not even important to 9 out of 10 women, but it's important to me. And so when you deal with women where the way they evaluate the world is what satisfies me and makes me happy, and that's the only thing I care about. If you want to make long-term plans with that, you're a fool. She even said, hey, I've looked at it logically, but what about the emotion? Sweetheart, emotions are like the wind. They change with the fucking wind. And if you're making your long-term decisions about who you're going to have children with and who you're going to marry based off of your fucking feelings, then no
So
wonder
isn't a connection a feeling? Like,
no wonder
Hold on,
they're
hold on,
divorcing
hold on.
at an 80% rate.
but isn't a connection, having a connection with someone, a feeling?
Okay,
That
wait,
isn't
Having
driven
a
with logic?
again. See, we can't. I want T to be able to participate. So let Marty respond and let T respond, and then if you want to address hit what he said or what both of them said, let's do that. But let both of them respond to whatever your point is, and then you can respond. Go ahead, T. What do you have to say to the point that she just addressed Marty on?
Okay, wait. I just want to make it clear. That girl didn't have no baby by this man or nothing, right?
No.
No,
Okay. I
I
just,
don't know where
I
this
just don't.
imaginary baby came from.
It's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. Um, I think I know where she's coming from. I think she just explained it a little, where people didn't understand it. Now, I have seen this video before. I actually duetted it, and I duetted it in the context where she could have been coming from a place of past trauma, where she's used to chaos, dysfunction, and things of that nature, and he was not chaotic enough for her, which is why she probably felt like something was off. It could have just been her. Not saying that that's right. I'm saying that some women operate out of chaos. They operate out of dysfunction, and being that he wasn't dysfunctional, to her it was something that was off. But what was off was that he wasn't what she was used to. So that could have been one of the things that she was coming, that the lady in the video was coming from, which is not good. It's not good. Yeah, that's my grandson, y'all. In the background, he was crying. Sorry. But it's not a good thing. But a lot of women need to heal. A lot of women need to get their mind right and learn how to operate in peace, and then add to peace. Because sometimes women think that toxicity is norm. They've normalized it, and that's not good. On the other hand, I feel like if everybody is not for us. And I feel like if she did feel like he was a good guy, but he wasn't a fit for her, I'd rather her not marry him than to marry him and then take him for half of everything he got. Because she already knew she didn't want to marry him. You know what I'm saying? Like, why get with someone, marry them, knowing that you're not attracted to them, whatever way, mentally, emotionally, or whatever, waste his time, get with him, become his wife, and then end up cheating on him or divorcing him, taking him for all his shit, getting pregnant by him. Now you got kids involved. So I'd rather a woman say, you know what? I'm not feeling it. So I'm going to just go ahead and bow out versus still going through with it and then hurting them in the long run.
Okay, see, let me ask you a question real quick before Karma speaks again. So I hear what you're saying about the woman just deciding to like forego marrying him, but at the end of the day, like I was saying earlier, for most people the way it works, it goes dating, it goes relationship, it goes getting engaged, and then it goes getting married. So
Right.
there had to have been some form of chemistry to go from dating to relationship, more chemistry to go from relationship to getting engaged, and at the end of the day, like the woman was still wasting this man's time at the end of the day. So like as a woman, this man is still exerting his money. This man is still exerting his energy, attention, and time on you. And ultimately, if you know that this is not someone that you want to be with for whatever reason, even if it's just like a dumb reason, like Marty says, cut it right then and there. Don't let it get to don't get engaged to be married and then come and say that this guy is this great guy and he has all these qualities, but there's just something missing. I can't pinpoint what it is, but there's something missing. Cut it off right away. That's
So
why that's
and
why
see,
that's why men shouldn't even be investing
A lot of
money
people don't
into a woman that's not
realize
their girlfriend.
the weight of it until it's presented to them.
I get what you're saying, Noble. I do. And if life were that simple, we wouldn't marry the wrong people. We wouldn't, all of these things wouldn't occur. And I think sometimes you're with somebody, you get to one level, then you get to the next, and the next level is like, okay, wait a minute. I was, like everything has stages and phases. We don't know her stage and phase. Maybe they moved in together and she realized there were some things that, okay, I didn't know that was something that, I can't, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what stage and phase she's decided, okay, it's enough.
Okay.
Okay, we just don't know. Like, and I'm not justifying it. Like I said, it can always be that she was used to toxicity, chaos, and something negative where she doesn't know when a good man is there that's good, and she's not used to it. I think a lot of us have that mindset where you're so used to being hurt, you're so used to being torn down, maybe abused, whatever the fact of the matter may be, and then you get somebody that's great to you and you don't recognize it, and it's unfamiliar. So that's something that's a mental thing that needs to be addressed. But if that's not the case, because we don't know her standpoint, and she just decided, you know what, he's a great guy, but he's just not good for me. Because that's possible, right? We've all had people that are great, but they just weren't great for us.
Yeah.
Is that not possible? I'm just wondering, have we all dated somebody that was great but not great for us?
Like some people need a little bit more of something, and then sometimes you don't really think about it. Like, hey, because it feels great for what it is in this moment, but you don't really think about the next moment all the time until the next moment is presented.
Right. And she probably dropped the ball. She probably dropped the ball and messed up a good fit. But guess what? That's her loss. And he didn't have to worry about getting dragged through all the unnecessary, wedding and, then the divorce and all of that stuff. So I'm glad that his time didn't get wasted in that aspect.
Right. Like, at least they didn't figure that out 15 years in after children have been had and stuff.
Okay, what's your next point that you want to address him on?
Okay, so when I brought up a lot of women feeling like they can parent better without an extra adult child in the house with them, he said that was selfish. But doesn't that stem from the man's selfishness to not doing anything in the home and having the mother work full time just like him and do all of the domestic labor, do all of the sports and car riding and being there for all the recitals and games and homework, like, and then having to cater to this man who needs his suit pressed and his hair cut and his raggedy toenails cut, like can't even keep up with their own toenails. When the kids, like, sometimes the kids do more than the actual husband in forms of domestic work. So people can't parent if their mental health is being affected. So a lot of the times it's not selfish, but necessary for the mental health of the parent who's doing the most parenting overall. She can't parent correctly if her mental health is being drained by a selfish husband.
Are you a parent?
Yeah.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that as a parent, as a mother. I have a 24-year-old and an 18-year-old. I think we can get up with our mental health is messed up and go to work, clock into a job and function through a full day. So we can parent. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that if your mental health is at stake, you do need to communicate that and you do need to tend to that. But I don't know, me as a mother, my mental health is not going to interfere in me parenting my children. And if I get to that point, I didn't say a 24-year-old. Oh, I'm 29. I'm sorry. Yep. I had her when I was 5. Anyway, so I think as parents, we got to push through. we got to do what we need to do. So I do think that our mental health needs to be addressed, but I don't think we can't parent properly. I think that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
Marty, take it away, Marty.
I don't. It's so. Check this out. I was raised by just my mom, T. My mom was a teacher, like you are a teacher, and she was fabulous too. She her makeup and her the way she get ready, man. And my mom was a stone cold fox. Okay, she was a sharp woman. She is a sharp woman. She's on time. She doesn't miss appointments. She returns every single telephone call. Her credit is perfect. She don't miss a bill. She plans ahead. Like I have an incredibly, responsible, very willful, very intelligent mom. Okay. And she raised 3 boys. I had 2 brothers, and all of us are successful men who live in beautiful 500,000 or higher homes, right? And, have families and take care of our business as men. But we did not learn how to take care of our business as men from our mother. As wonderful as she was, as intelligent as she was, as caring and as loving and as supporting as she was, we didn't learn how to be men from our mother. So when I'm talking about single motherhood, I'm not saying that a woman can't love the shit out of her son, that he can't grow up to be somebody. But there is something to being a man. It's not just growing up. It's not just being an adult male. There's something to being a man. And most women don't really know it exists, but they know when it's missing, right? They know when it's missing. They meet a guy and a lot of them can tell, like, hey, yeah, no, this motherfucker ain't serious, right? But you don't know what it is. You don't know what it's composed of where you could teach it.
But what's
And so
stopping the father from still doing that, even if the mother is still not with it? He can still
no,
parent his
nobody,
children.
no, nobody does stop that. But what I'm talking about, and I get what you're saying, is in the community we have and in the Black culture, a great many of our children are born with no dads whatsoever. And I believe that the reason for that is
I'm
because
sorry, I
our
didn't see
women
that
are
part of,
attracted.
I grew up in a Black church where everybody's parents
Right.
was together for the most part, or at least
You say
if they
everybody
weren't
what?
together. I
Okay,
said I
Karma,
grew up in a
Sure.
predominantly Black church in a
Right.
predominantly like nice
Right.
Black neighborhood, and
Sure.
um, I've seen, an entire, like,
Okay,
I,
Karma.
I,
He's not talking specifically about
yeah,
you,
yeah, Karma,
and
okay. But
he's
no,
not
are
no,
you
I
talking
about
mean,
to?
like, I
specifically
feel
about
like
you,
it's not just
and
that
statistically,
stereotype. Like,
okay,
I feel like there's so much more out there than just this one
I
type.
know,
I feel
but
like that's such a
Karma,
small group.
okay.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
not talking about you specifically, okay. And statistically, what he just said is true. But the
Oh,
same way you don't interrupt T when
I'm
she
sorry,
speaks.
I didn't look at I didn't look at the statistics. My bad.
Okay. The same way you don't interrupt T when she speaks, please
Hmm.
just let him finish, and then you will have the opportunity to respond. We are here
Okay.
for
yeah.
you to address his points, but please let him finish and let him talk. Go ahead, Marty.
All right, yeah, and I'm curious. Karma, are
Yeah.
you? Is it your belief then that there are more children in our community that are being born without an active and involved father than there are children who are growing up with a male influence?
Yeah, and I feel like
Well, yes,
that's
what? What? Yeah, yes, what? Yeah.
the what?
You just said yeah, but you said
Yeah,
yes to
I
what?
feel like
Which one?
that's the man's fault for not
We're not.
assuming his
I'm not asking that. I'm
responsibility.
asking which children are more in the community. Are there more without dads or more with dads?
More without.
Okay, you and I agree on that. Okay, and so we both agree there's more, and we know that this can happen several ways. You can be a widower or a widow, right?
Mhm.
You could have gotten married and your husband died, right? You could have gotten a divorce. That happens, right? Or you could have had a baby with somebody who never married you, right?
Or
You could have reproduced.
wrongful, what's it called when someone
So
goes to jail for something that they didn't do?
or falsely accused, yeah, or went to
Yeah,
jail, whatever. They could have been removed.
we have
Right,
a really
exactly.
high
Okay.
rate of that in our community, unfortunately.
Yeah, we do have a high percentage of that for the total amount of people who are falsely accused, but that is not a meaningful percentage of black men. So I want to put this in your mind for a moment because you seem like you're an educated gal. There's only 2.2 million people in jail of any race and any gender, male, female, black, white, Asian, Arab, Indian. There's only 2.2 million people in state and federal prison in the United States of America as of 2022. Black people are 41,900,000. 19.9 million of that are black men. Okay. 35% of the prison population is black. That's more than double the amount of black people in the country as a proportion. We only represent about 13% of the country's population, but we represent 35% of the prison's population. But it's only of 2.2 million people. That's 850,000 people. That's men and women. If we were to say that every single black prisoner in jail in America as of 2022 was a man, which is not the case, that would only represent 4.8% of that 19.9 million black men. So the fact that some of them are incarcerated feloniously, right, is it sucks and it's not right, but it's not a meaningful percentage of black men who are in jail or who have been falsely accused. The problem we're having in our community is like you and I both agreed on. There's too many kids without dads. And I believe that the majority of these children who are coming up without dads are not because of widows or divorcees or incarcerated fathers. I believe that the majority of those kids growing up without dads are women who have chosen to carry children for men outside of wedlock. And then a meaningful percent of them, almost over 80% of those women have children by a second man outside of wedlock. And the reason I think that's the case is because our culture is obsessed with thug niggas. The women of our culture love bad boys, especially while they're young, unfortunately. And because they don't have a father to bring them home to that would say, get this boy out my house, because we are now 2 or 3 generations into this stupidity, right? The women are reproducing with these men, and now 72 out of 100 black babies are born outside of a marriage. So that's what I think. I think that's the problem, right? Even though I'm glad you came from a great community, that is not representative, unfortunately, of our community as a whole. I'm
And
sure you realize that.
And real quick before
Yeah,
you say
I
something,
can look
I want to say
around.
something really, I want to say something really quick to you before you speak. Because Marty mentioned about like the like woman, especially when they're younger in our community, being more um interested and like attracted to like a certain a certain type of black man. I 100% agree with that. You know, Marty, I've said this before. I say this all the time. But Marty, if you like Marty, like in the movies and stuff, like you know, you got Tyrese, you got Baby Boy, like the people that are put to the men that are put to the forefront in our community, Marty. It is the athlete with you know with the diamonds around the neck, with the AP on the wrist, you know, with the Lambo truck, with the Rolls Royce. You know, it is the Pooh Shiesties of the world. It is like the rappers of the world. So like Marty, like when that's why even for us when we're young boys, I think that's part of the reason why even us when we're young boys, we aspire to want to do certain things because that's what's put in the limelight. And when that's what's put in the limelight for young girls, that's what they're instinctively going to be more attracted to as well. So I just think that that plays a large part into why they're attracted to these, you know, the guys as we want to call them. But T, you wanted to say something? Go ahead, T.
Yeah, I really okay. So I had something that happened yesterday that really saddened me. I had one of my coworkers, my old coworkers, that came to my grandson's birthday party, and she was pregnant. She's about 5 months pregnant. She has a daughter by her ex-boyfriend. And before she had got pregnant by the ex-boyfriend, they were having a lot of problems, and she would come to me all the time about advice and everything. And it was a really bad situation where I had ended up advising her to get out of the situation before she ended up getting pregnant because it was really toxic. By the time she was getting ready to leave, she was pregnant. And they tried to stay together and work together, and then they separated, right? Now she's pregnant again. And I asked her yesterday how he was doing, and she's like, oh, we're not together. And I just looked at her, and I looked at her belly, and she was like, I said, wait a minute, what? And she's like, oh, no, we're not together. And I was like, you having another baby with him? And she said, what does that mean? She did not understand. One, she has a daughter already with him, and it's hard. It really is hard for her. She's been struggling, to get him to do what he needed to do. No, she's pregnant by the same man. She's pregnant by the same guy, but they're not together. So, but she did not understand that wasn't good. She didn't get it. It didn't click. She's like, things happen.
Oh
And
yeah, because most of our households are conservative at heart, but they vote the other way. Like we keep being told that abortions are bad, abortions are immoral, so then we keep all the ones that we get, but then don't have all these babies. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a problem. In our community,
no,
Karma,
wait,
I don't know if you know this,
hold
but
on.
the women abort more children a year than they give birth to. Did you know that?
I thought that uh we had the lower percentage of
No, we have
abortions
the highest
overall.
of all racial demographics. Please Google it, baby. Please.
I thought
Yeah.
I'm
I'm pretty
bringing
sure
this
they
up.
said that white women make up at least 66%,
I'm bringing this up to
No,
say
just
this.
which is more
look
than
it
half
up,
my
babe.
stuff.
Can I say I'm bringing this up to
Yeah.
say this. Um, when we have something to measure to, right? Like I have two children. Both of my children are one is by my ex-husband, and the one I was young. They didn't have kids before me. I'm both of their kids' first baby mom or kids' mother. But she knew what type of father he was prior to getting pregnant by him. She knew what type of father he was after she had a baby by him, and she still decided to get pregnant by him again. And this is where I say we as women have to take accountability for the type of curses and situations that we are recreating over and over again. She did not understand why that was wrong. She did not understand why that didn't make sense. You have one child that's right here, and you're carrying another, and the father is not actively in the home. And this is the problem that we have in our community. I had 3 teenage girls on my show a couple weeks ago, and we spoke about baby mama culture because I wanted them to understand the effects of baby mama culture and how that can affect them, in the long run. And we need to understand that being a baby mama is not a flex. It's not. So that's where we have to be accountable. We have to remove access. We have to be careful. We have, things like that. We have to be the ones that are responsible in the fact to say, hey, you know what? I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. Until I get to this point where we're married or whatever, because it's not looking good for us anymore. Never has been, but it's getting worse. And our children need that. They need both parents. They really do.
Yeah, a lot of the men that the ladies are complaining about are raised without a responsible man in the home. So if these men, they come into manhood, that doesn't make them men. The women in our community that are having these children are raising boys that are that other women who are coming from fatherless homes are marrying or are mating with, and they're just reproducing children irresponsibly and arguing with anybody that tells them, hey, get married first, make sure you get a commitment to be a father out of a man before you carry a child for him, get a commitment to for him to be a husband and to be a father before you make a baby for him. And if you didn't do those two things first, then you're a single mother by choice, even though you didn't realize it, right? sometimes
I agree.
ignorance of the law isn't an excuse, right? That's what they say. That's the legal way of looking
Right.
at it. Like, just because you don't know something, it doesn't excuse you from the consequence of it. I
Right.
was young and I didn't know is not a reason to have children by a man that isn't going to marry you. And maybe you didn't know any better somehow, that you made it to the age where you were old enough to have sex with somebody, but you hadn't seen in the world enough, right? And seen from other people and seen on television or seen anything on social media. You haven't seen anything. You're ignorant to the fact of how wise it would have been to get a marital commitment from a man before you have a child by him. Let's say that that extremely ridiculous supposition is true. Let's say that, right? You're still the author of your own choices,
Yes,
and you
and
get the outcomes that go along with your choices, and nothing excuses you from that, not man or woman.
you know
So,
what? I have a niece that's 20. I think she just turned 20, and I just found out she's pregnant, and she's pregnant by a 38-year-old man. And my sister told my daughter to talk her into having a baby. And I told my daughter, you better not. You better not talk. You better not talk her into that. You better not help her make that decision. That is not our decision to help her make. Because at the end of the day, that's the decision that she has to live with. And the problem is, I don't understand what the hell my sister is thinking to talk her into having a baby, because she doesn't want to have a baby. Now she shouldn't be, whatever she did or she shouldn't be doing. That's neither here nor there. But it's happening now. She's pregnant, right? And she stayed the night at my house this weekend, and my grandkids are here, and she was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not having a baby, because it's a lie. And I told her, I said, don't allow anybody to make that decision for you, because it's a hard decision to make, and it's a decision you're gonna be stuck with for the rest of your life.
Now, who is this that's pregnant to you?
My niece.
Your niece? I'm
Yeah,
sorry that she has to go through that,
yeah,
but it's really, I think it's, and I hate to, hear about, us deleting the children. I
right,
really
right,
do. However, like, it's only valuable if she learns something from this,
right.
right?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
what's the takeaway got to be for her? The very serious takeaway is
She
that
needs
you
to,
cannot have random sex.
yes, she needs to remove.
You
She needs
cannot,
to, yes.
and you need to be on birth control if you're having sex, and you need to require guys to wear condoms.
Hmm.
When I had when I first really the first time I left from home, I went to college, right? And I didn't finish college the first time. I went to the military after school. I went to college, played a year of college basketball at Siena Heights University in Adrian, Michigan, and was too busy shooting hoops and chasing skirts to show up for class and do well. And so instead of returning for a second year, I went into the military. Okay. And so my first like time where I was really, really, really out on my own with some money in my pocket was then when I first went into the Air Force. So after I finished all the ridiculous training that we had, I had a girlfriend, and I was
thank you for
so
your
in love with
service.
this girlfriend. And let me tell you something. Her and I were together for 2.5 years. And the first year and a half, we didn't have sex one time without a condom. I refused to have sex with her without a condom. She was on birth control. I did not care. This was my girlfriend. I wasn't sleeping with anybody else. I used to dream about what our daughter would look like. I was completely head over heels, punch drunk, in love with this woman. And I didn't have sex with her without a condom for a year and a half. She was on birth control for like over 6, 7 months, and I still would not use a condom. So you need to require men to use a condom if they want to have access to your body. And if you are a woman and you are not on birth control and you don't require the use of condoms, then it is not a question of if you are going to get pregnant. It is a question of when you are going to get pregnant.
Go ahead, Karma.
Okay, so I wanted to speak on what you said earlier. Now, a lot of women are leaving their man because they feel like they are married but still a single mother. How can you really prevent that? Like, you got the commitment, but you're still doing everything by yourself anyway.
You need to marry a woman who has traditional values if you're a man. And as a woman, you have to negotiate with your husband, right, through conversation, what your expectations are around the house. If you guys are going to enter the union of a marriage, but haven't talked to each other about what your expectations are of your partner, then it's not going to work out either way. A man is foolish to do that, and so is a woman. And, that door swings both ways. I know guys who cook and clean and work, and their wives are housewives. When I had a housewife, I had a stay-at-home wife for a decade. I had a nanny and a cleaning lady. The nanny would come over like once or twice a week. So if my wife wanted a spa day or to get out and get her hair or her nails done, she could do that without having the kids on her before they were in school. And then I also had a cleaning lady that came by 3 times a month, once every 10 days, and deep cleaned every single part of the home. So all that my ex-wife had to do was maintain it, and she wouldn't even do that. I would come home from my lunch break and do the dishes and then turn around and go back out to work again because she would refuse to cook unless the dishes were done. So that was my fault, right? Because I didn't negotiate what was important to me up front and then disqualify her if I didn't have a woman that was going to be happy to meet those expectations. Ladies, it is important for you to have those types of conversations up front as well and say, I really love cooking and cleaning and I'm great at it, or I don't like cooking. I'm not a really great cook. I can get better at it, but it's not something I'm really great at, and I'm going to need help with that. If you're not having these conversations, then that's on you. You have to know, you have to teach people how you want to be treated, and you are also responsible for holding them accountable as an adult.
Okay, I like that answer.
T, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just gonna say, Noble, you remember you asked earlier, why don't people know this before they get engaged?
Right.
As you can see, people get married and still don't know these things. So it's like that's what I meant by stages and phases and having these conversations, because you can marry a person and still not know them fully because you're not asking the right questions. You're not,
Right.
in the right situation. So that's what I was trying to say to you earlier.
Sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you're faced with, yeah, the right questions. Because some things you don't even think to ask until it comes up.
Yeah, there's no way you can know all things, and there's no silver bullet that's going to
Right.
guard you against bad outcomes. All is fair in love and war. And that's
Right.
why with this woman, I point at her bad behavior, but I also put blame on the fiance, the man, because, I believe he was trying to deal with somebody who didn't want him. I believe that he was dating a woman who didn't have the same systems of values that he had. And because he had, gotten her to accept a marital commitment instead of her working to receive one from him, then he got this type of bullshit. And he is lucky, T, that she decided not to marry him beforehand, because he dodged a bullet. If this is what she felt like, if like, think about it, you're about to enter a marriage with somebody, and now you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it, and you can't fucking even articulate why. If you listen to the video, she made a shoe analogy. She didn't tell no anybody any meaningful reason at all that she didn't want to do it, other than she don't want to do it because it don't feel right and that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it
Think about your
sounded like
values
a
being so.
connection problem to me. Like there was,
It,
like there was a deep, like a deeper connection. Like
I think that
there's some
I think she
people,
was a. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, babe.
okay, like, okay. So this is the kind of connection that it took me a little bit too long to realize I didn't have with this person. Because then, he asked me the question. I'm like, why can't you look me in the eye when we're, doing stuff? And I'm just like, I don't know, it's weird. Just like, why are you looking at me like that? Don't look at me, back shots, whatever. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't like him that much. I like how it feels when we're doing what we do, but I don't like the person attached to it.
Yeah, I get what you're
You know,
saying. I
like it
think
took
that
me a really long time to figure out that I really didn't, you know, like,
I,
and then I started paying attention who I can have that kind of eye contact with and who I can't have that eye contact with. But like before I was able to put two and two together, it would be an unexplainable something off.
I
I
know
had.
that's I'm just letting you know that even though you may have experienced it as well, that doesn't
Hmm.
mean it's not ridiculous and frivolous and stupid. And that if you want to make long-term life decisions off of things you can't even articulate because they're so nebulous and so vaporous that they can't even be put into logical sentences that another person might hear and understand, right?
Hmm.
Then I would submit that that person is probably so emotionally immature that they don't need to have any type of relationship for the time being. And it's not that they haven't found the right man, it's that they themselves are too immature for an adult relationship.
Which
That's what
means
If
I
that he
you,
shouldn't. And if she is not mature enough for that, then that's a good thing it was broken off then.
I agree with that. I
that's what
agree.
I was
That was
gonna
the point I was making.
and I add to
Like
that. I
we
was
all agree that it's a good thing that it ended, and I don't feel
Yeah,
like it's
I agree.
anyone's fault. It's just some things just don't work out.
so I was
Well,
I didn't understand this concept, and I was dating this guy, and my house ended up catching fire, and he ended up abandoning me like 2 hours after the fire, right? And he ended up being with this girl, and all this stuff. And I remember asking him like, what was it like? You know what I'm saying? Because I knew I was a great woman. And I asked him like, what was it? And he said it. He was like, Ty, you a great woman, you're an amazing woman, but you just not the woman for me. And it hurt at first, but then when he married the woman that he left with, I realized I wasn't the woman for him. She was exactly what he needed. He wanted, and I'm not no shade to her, but the type of woman he married is the type of woman he got, and she ended up cheating on him with somebody in jail, and she didn't want to help him with his kids, and she didn't want to do all the things that I was doing. She refused, and he needed somebody to meet him where he was mentally. And sometimes that's just where it is. Some people are above you, and you don't even know why they're not the person for you, and that may be because you're just not on their level mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And when people say that, let them go.
yeah, they
Yeah,
will
if
find
you're
their
not
karma.
vibrating at the same frequency, you're not. If you're not emitting the same frequency, you can't vibrate. When one frequency is going and something else is at that same frequency, it literally vibrates. I forgot the science experiment's name, but it was really cool.
Yeah,
So
I'm
T,
gonna. I mean, I got a something that's a little bit more solid than the frequency and vibrations and stuff. Fellas, you have to deal with women who have the same value system you have. If it's not a woman who thinks marriage is an incredible thing, then you shouldn't marry her because here's what you need to understand if you're a man. Noble, you're gonna want to clip this.
Hmm.
All right. If you're a man, a marital commitment is a commitment to protect and provide and provision for a lifetime and die for it if it is necessary. So protect means if something's coming your way, then I'm stepping into it. Provide means that whatever lifestyle we're living, I take chief responsibility in providing it and making sure it is stable for us and whatever kids we have. Provision means I am planning for our future. There will be a time when we are too old to work, and I'll make sure that there's enough for us so that you can be comfortable, baby. And then die for it if necessary means I give my life up in place of yours. That's what that means. There is no greater commitment a man can give to any being on the planet, not his mama, not his daddy, not his own fucking children, that is greater than the commitment that he gives to a wife. And if you're talking with or dealing with a woman who says she want a man and don't need a man, who says that body count don't matter, who says that
Oh
I'm
my
single
gosh.
and I'm independent and I don't need
Stop
a
it.
man. No, no, let me finish my point. If you're dealing
Okay.
with a woman that doesn't value your commitment and doesn't value marriage,
Jesus.
you would be a fool to give her that type of commitment. You would be a fucking fool to commit to die for somebody and they don't value your commitment. And that if you're a woman and you're going to bring children into the world for a man and make him immortal by letting him propagate his DNA, if you are willing to let him use your divine womb to have children and become immortal and have legacy, no man is worth that from you unless he is willing to give you that type of commitment. And the age old agreement always was, I give you a ring, then you give me a child. And if you ladies are making babies for men who aren't giving you that commitment, then that is a mistake. And fellas, if you are giving rings to women who don't think marriage is a big deal, who say, you know what, I can take it or leave it, maybe I want to get married, you are a fool.
Okay, so I have a question.
Noble was finna say. What was you finna say, Noble?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I was like, when you were talking about, when Marty had mentioned, he took accountability and said that he didn't establish certain things, and even when Marty said like there's no way to just be like fully bulletproof, and you're not really gonna even know these things as like a young single individual that's taking care of yourself, and especially if you haven't even lived with another woman or a man before. But I just think because like I'm 26, right? I'm young, and I will. This will not happen to me. But I don't agree with like I don't think women just be having this epiphany moment. Just like I don't think they just wake up on a Sunday morning and realize this guy is not for me anymore. Like I honestly feel like even the woman in this video, she been feeling this way. But
Right.
and my whole point to you is I think though that when they're with a man that's providing certain things that they may not be able to provide for themselves, providing them a lifestyle, doing certain things for them that they won't be able to do for themselves, they'll stay a little longer. But if that's not the case, I don't think that they'll stay. I think they'll just leave right away. So they're gonna exert whatever they can out of him until they just be like, you know what, I am kind of tired of this now, and that's what I don't agree with. I don't co-sign that.
No, but that's not necessarily true though, because like some of the women do stay knowing that it's not a good fit, knowing that it's not right, because they don't want to be by themselves. They don't want to start over. They don't want to, they're scared that they're not gonna find anybody else. So there are so many different dynamics into why some women will see it or feel it and they keep pushing forward. I was dating someone recently and I just was feeling something in my gut. And I was like, maybe you just overthinking it, or maybe you just trying to self-sabotage it. And, like I kept making all these excuses, and then it came to a head and I was like, you know what? Whatever happened, I was like, it wasn't just in my gut. You know what I'm saying? It was really something telling me, like, I don't know what it was. It was just telling me it was not right. And when before we didn't get all the way to the other step, but when we got to the next step, I was like, oh, that's what that feeling was, because I was trying to convince myself, oh, girl, you overthinking it, or you done met you a great guy, an amazing guy, and you trying to sabotage it. And I kept telling myself that what I was feeling wasn't right. But what I was feeling actually was right. I just didn't know what it was until I got to that point, till I got to that particular part where I was like, oh, okay, this is what it was. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.